Pam Dubois, DMV Real Estate, and today I have with me special guest Christian Jackson, Jackson Appraisal Group,
Hello,
and
hello.
KW Properties, and he's going to share with us about what's going on in Prince George County with appraisals and properties in Prince George County. First, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So, about myself, I've been in real estate overall for about 15 years overall. Started off investing in homes. Bought my first house when I was about 22. Bought it, didn't know what I was doing with it, and my buddy's dad told me to sell it. About 4 months later, it was DC. Market was starting to get hot, and made about $20,000 in my pocket at 22 years old, and I'm like, real estate, that's it. So
yeah, now it's in your blood, and it's like, how do you stop it?
And just going, So started flipping houses, moved down to Florida for a little bit, flipped some houses down there until the market just tanked. And so I came back home to the area and realized that real estate, I loved it, but didn't want the risk of flipping as a career field, basically. So then that's when I picked up the appraisal book. I mean, the education book at Prince George Community College. Saw the appraisal class. Remember this appraiser walked through one of my houses for 10 minutes, gave him a $400 check, and I said, that's what I want to do.
That's what you want to do?
I didn't know all the work that goes in behind the scenes, but that's kind of how I got started.
Okay.
So,
and how long have you been doing appraisals for now?
So 12 years total.
Oh, wow.
And my business has been open for 8 years of those 12. Yeah.
Okay. So not only is he in the appraisal business, he's also an agent with KW Properties.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. I'm with Keller Williams Preferred Properties in Upper Marlboro. I got started there in 2017, at the end of 2017. 2018, I was the Prince George's County Association of Realtors Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
I was the Rookie of the Year for my brokerage, KWPP, as well as the Maryland, D.C. region for Keller Williams.
Wow, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank
so
you,
you're doing great.
Yeah.
So which do you like more?
That's a good question. So I wouldn't have the success I'm having in sales if it wasn't for my appraisal background. So I always love doing appraisals and understanding the market, understanding where values come from and that type of thing. But I really, really love working with people. And just taking somebody who comes to me who has no idea what they're doing in terms of like they're a first-time home buyer, they don't know anything about buying a home, taking them from that point all the way to the point where I'm handing them the keys and they've been educated throughout that whole process. I love that part.
It's a beautiful feeling, helping people through the most expensive and the biggest investment of their life, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
So what are you seeing, what's going on right now in Prince George County?
So there's actually a lot going on. So obviously everybody's aware of like the National Harbor and everything that's going on down there. They're continually to expand. They're still building. You're starting to see some of the people that were coming in looking in National Harbor starting to spill out, what I say, outside of the gates. So they're starting to look in neighborhoods around there. Just because of the convenience, because of the price points a lot lower, obviously, than across the bridge or over
on
in
the
Virginia.
other side, Virginia.
Yep. So they're starting to open their mind up to coming in. We have a brand new hospital that's halfway built right now in Largo, Maryland, right by the stadium.
Okay, tell me about that. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so that's a University of Maryland project. It's going to basically mimic the medical center that's in Annapolis right now. So it's a state-of-the-art, center. And it's being built. It's slated to open in 2021. So obviously there's a lot of buzz about that and what that's going to do for housing prices and that type of thing.
Right, in that area.
Right. And so there's some newer communities that are still building, like Oak Creek and Beech Tree in the area that are seeing some really good traffic. I think because of that. Oak Creek is the only I believe full 24-hour security besides Woodmore, the original Woodmore. That has like fully gated and everything like that. So I think that's going to be attractive to some of the higher end clients that's going to be coming in for the
that sounds
hospital.
really nice. You were telling me about another project that's going on out there that similar to there's a project that we have in Montgomery County.
So then right next door. So then right next to the hospital, they're building a whole like restaurant row. That's that's the same builder as Pike and Rose. In Montgomery County. So that's going to be some high-end restaurants and that type of thing. Some bars and that type. So they're really changing the whole landscape. And there's a lot of
there's a lot
coming
going on
in
Prince George County right now.
There is. So it's actually people are talking about the market softening and that type of thing, but it's still a really good time to buy in Prince George County.
What are you seeing with the inventory as far as Prince George County right now?
So it's still a little light. You know, it's still a little light. It's more inventory than it was last year. So I was looking at some numbers, but it's still a little light. A house hits the market, and if it's priced right and presented right, it's not staying long at all. You got a couple of days, and that's it. You know?
Has to be priced right. And
I have to make sure I always educate my buyers, like, you got to be ready when you're coming out here, because you know, you sleep on this house one night, somebody's already putting offers on it. You know, and that's it.
So you're seeing still a lot of multiple offers.
There's some multiple offers. I don't think probably as much as some of the other parts of the area. But there's definitely a lot of multiple offer situations. You have to be strategic in how you're offering. And as an appraiser, when it comes to the multiple offer situation, that's kind of an indicator of where it's priced. You know. If it has too many multiple offers, you can probably say that it's probably a little bit underpriced. But generally, it's a good idea that it's priced right once it sells within that first week. As an appraiser, I tell my agents that I work with on the appraisal side that I put a lot of weight on days on market. So if you've had a house and it's been on the market for 150 days and you've had one small price drop, you know, you're probably still a little bit overpriced. You know? And I'm questioning why you were on the market for so long. You know?
If it's in good condition, what's the other thing? The price,
exactly. Right. And so if you've been on the market for 7 days and you've had 3 offers, then that's a good indicator that you were priced pretty right. You know? Wow.
Now, talk to us a little bit. I've had an appraisal on here basically talking about conventional and FHA appraisal. You do VA appraisals. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm on the VA board, and I'm probably one of the younger guys on there, which is a blessing, because once you get on there, you're on there for life, unless you really, you know, unless you do something catastrophic to get kicked off.
Now, is it difficult to get on there?
It is. You have to have 3 other VA appraisers kind of like vouch for you to get on, and they only open up the field every so often. And so I kind of just fell into it. I was trying to actually
get into
right? I was trying to get into the Anne Arundel County when they had opened up, and I got in there a little too late, but then they had just opened the Prince George's one. So I was able to get in with that.
That's great. Now, what are the differences between, I know with FHA and conventional, with FHA, the FHA appraisals, they have to do a little bit more work as far as, you know, inspection of the property and report things. What about the VA appraisal?
Basically the same thing.
Same thing?
VA, FHA, very similar in terms of their property condition standards. Conventional, you know, it's a lot easier in terms of they're not really going in and checking every window and that type of thing. You want to make sure the house is functional, obviously. But it's more of a safety thing with conventional, whereas like FHA, VA, you're going to be looking for, you're going to be opening up all those windows. You're going to be looking in the attic. You're going to be, you know, checking for chip and paint on homes and that type of thing. So you're going to
with the VA,
or FHA.
Any difference? Any major difference with the VA and the FHA, or are they both?
Not from a report standpoint. The VA gives us a little more time, you know, to do our reports. Like they give us about, right now it's 14 days total to do the report, and there's nothing really much anybody can do. So, like, you know, when you get a VA order, you want to make sure you order that appraisal ahead of time to make sure. But most VA appraisals are good in getting it in well before that date, but they do give us that time to get
well, that's
that done.
Good to know. Now, how long does an appraisal, FHA, VA appraisal, stick with the property? Let's say you do an appraisal and, you know, for some reason, you know, it doesn't work out, and then another buyer comes in and puts an offer.
So last I heard, it was 90 days.
90 days,
Now, mind you, it's not, the lender is not required to use it. And the VA appraisal follows the borrower, whereas the FHA appraisal follows the property.
Got it. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. So if you had another VA, another veteran come in, and that's recently changed, I believe, because they made us, the way we address the appraisals are different now. But if you get a VA, you know, if you had a house under contract with a veteran and then you lose that contract and then you get another veteran, you're going to get another appraisal. FHA, the lender can go in and look and see that there was another FHA appraisal done, and they can try to pull that from the other lender. They're not required to do that, though. I actually learned that recently too, that they're not required to use that. They can look at it and they can use it, but they're not required to use it. Because at the end of the day, it's still them lending it, you know. So they will have to get a new FHA number and everything like that. In that case.
And get so basically they would have to get a new FHA number assigned to that new appraisal lender. So they really don't have to get the appraisal from the old lender.
They don't have to, and a lot of people don't.
Because I have a situation like that right now where the lender's telling me they're trying to get the appraisal from the old lender.
They don't have to. They don't have to, and a lot of people try. It's obviously easier. It's cheaper. You don't have to pay again.
The buyer doesn't.
The buyer doesn't have to pay or anything like that. But Yeah, no, I've had a situation where we had to just go ahead and get another one because the other appraisal was like faulty, or they didn't really like it. So
okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
How would you advise the seller, basically, that's getting ready to put their house on the market, and actually you're wearing two hats with this?
Yeah.
You know, so this is kind of great.
Right.
You're in a great
Yeah,
position.
so I always tell people some of the big hitters. Everybody already knows about kitchen and baths and that type of thing.
Yeah.
I always go flooring, kitchen, baths, basement, almost in that order.
Okay.
Right. Obviously paint. Right.
Okay.
To present it well.
Okay.
But I think in terms of value, I think the first thing people see when they walk in the house is the flooring.
Right.
Right. And so if you have some really nice flooring going throughout, they might overlook maybe a kitchen that might be a little dated. You know.
Okay.
So I mean, they can
That's
see
good to know.
they can see a vision
Yeah.
of the kitchen being updated, but they have these nice floors as opposed to walking in with an updated kitchen and then cat stained carpet everywhere. Right.
So and it smells.
Right. Right. So yeah,
Right.
I kind of tell that, and then and basement finish is it's obviously an added bonus to have the different. And in appraisal, we adjust per room down there.
Okay.
So if you have like a large rec room, you might actually get more value for having a medium-sized rec room and then a bedroom down there,
okay.
or a den or something like that. You know.
Okay.
And so that's the key note too. It's
That's
not just finished area; it's how it's utilized. It's the utilization of that area.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, how does Prince George County look at having an extra kitchen? Like the basement
that
being
basement
running
kitchen?
Yeah.
So there's kind of two rules of thumb with that. You have to, if the unit is still one unit, meaning it's still contiguous with each other, meaning you can go up and downstairs without having to walk outside or lock doors,
blocks.
and no blockage.
Yeah.
And it's on 1 meter, then it's like an entertainment kitchen, and it's okay.
And they're okay with that?
And they're okay with that, yeah.
Okay.
If it's a block or something like that, then probably the stove is going to have to be removed or something like that to get
So they do tell them to remove it?
They would, yeah. They will tell them to remove it.
Okay.
And a lot of times people just remove it for the day, for the, for the
just so they
appraiser
can
to come
get the
out.
appraiser.
Yeah, that's what.
So they don't get caught.
Right.
Really?
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
The county's not really knocking on people's doors looking for, basement kitchens.
Right.
But that's the rule of thumb, is that if it functions, if it looks and smells like a one unit, then that's what it is.
It's a one unit,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Now, as far as, again, both hats here, this is great. You're a great person here. Multiple offer situations, basically. You've got multiple offers on the property, and then you've got property that's appraised for a certain amount.
Sure.
Do you take into consideration that you've had multiple offers on that property as far as the amount when you're evaluating?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it just reiterates because the market doesn't lie. And I always tell my clients that, I tell agents that, when the market will always tell its own story.
Right.
You can price a $300,000 house for $1 million, and it's not going to sell because the market's not going to pay for that.
Right.
You can price that same house at $100,000, and you're going to have 1 million offers on it.
Right.
And it'll probably escalate close to where it actually is worth.
Where it's supposed to be.
I had a situation where there was a house. It was in Upper Marlboro. I was an agent on this one. And the house was huge house on a half an acre, and it's probably about 3,000 square foot split level, really good condition, considering, and it was priced for $289, and then even for that
that's
area,
a great price.
This is 7-8 months ago, and I looked at it and I said, no way, there's no way this house is $289. Right. And so we go through. There's something wrong with it. There's always a story behind something, right? So we walk through, and it's like the kitchen's a little dated. It's a beautiful pool out back. Like, this house is going to be gone in 2 seconds, right? And so I told my client, she was approved for like $400 or something like that. I told her, I said, how much do you want this house? And she's like, I want it. I don't care. I want this house. I want this house. I said, I looked at comps. I pulled it out. I said, I think this house is worth about $340. Okay. So we put in an offer at $300 with an escalation up to $340. Okay. She won the bid at $316. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because they took all the offers from the first 3 days.
Okay.
So she won the offer at $316. The appraisal came back at $340. $340 on the dot. Yeah. And so that was
job.
like, yeah. But that's kind of, just, you have to be you can't just look at a price that an agent set, because there's a reason why they set it. They wanted it to be gone. They wanted multiple offers.
Right.
And the owners, I found out that they were just done.
They didn't
were
want
already
to deal with
moved
it.
out. They didn't want to deal with it. So they lowballed it,
So
and she got a great price on that house.
Wow, wow.
She redid
That's
the kitchen.
great.
That house is probably worth over $400 right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
that's
easily.
a great price
Yeah.
for that area and a single family, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some stuff going on in Upper Marlboro right now. Do you know anything about some of the stuff that's going on at Upper Marlboro right now?
We talked about the.
Yeah,
we talked about that. There's just a lot of building going on.
Yeah.
Amazon's also has a facility that they're opening up. Some of the residents aren't actually too happy about it because it's a warehouse facility over there, and warehouse facilities doesn't tend to bring the highest paying jobs.
Right.
So there's a little bit of an uproar behind that. We were looking for the Amazon that got put in Arlington. We were looking for that one, but so we'll see what happens with that. So the residents are kind of going through some things with that right now.
So are they still fighting it against the
are.
county?
Yeah.
With the county.
Yeah, they are still fighting it because it basically puts them at a disadvantage because they had bought in that community expecting that there was going to be this large community center built and everything like that, and then now they switched it up
Amazon
and put the Amazon warehouse there. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, as far as comparable properties, basically, if you're in a neighborhood and you're doing an appraisal, how far out, if there aren't any comparables in that neighborhood, let's say, how far out do you like to go?
It's every property is different, and there are no set rules.
Okay.
So I have
so
to
they
go
don't.
out.
I thought there were set rules.
No. So the guideline is you should stay within a mile, right?
Okay.
Obviously.
Right.
But if there aren't anything, then you have to do what's best, and then you have to do your due diligence, and you have to explain it as best you can as to why you did this and why you did that, right? So they give us a little bit of free reign to do that. I did when I was working with an appraisal company. We did one of the first appraisals in National Harbor when they just started building those townhouse condos over there. And so there were no settled sales on this one I was doing. So we had a townhouse condo that was in Oxon Hill that sold for $250,000. This house was under contract for $550 or something like that at that time. So we had a townhouse condo in Oxon Hill for like $250. That was probably about like 4 or 5 years old at that time. So we used that, and then we had to go across the water into Alexandria
to get the other comp.
And to get the other comp that was like $1.2 million with the same water view and everything like that.
Really?
And we had to use that. So in one report, we had a $1.2 million comp and a $250,000 comp, and then we kind of just justified the contract price based off of that.
And the bank didn't kick it back. Worked out fine.
We had a lot. Actually, we had no kickbacks on that one, which
really?
We did a bang up job of just like explaining why we did what we did. With the adjustments for location and everything like that, and so it actually kind of worked out, and they didn't really kick it back.
It kind of helps to know the area too, around there, basically, because if there aren't any comps right there, the next choice would be to have it go across the river.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I mean, because it was the same influences, if you overall. So.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that you do as far as appraisals, and a lot of things that we actually never think about as far as just, sometimes as realtors you just basically, let it up to the lender actually to order the appraisal. But having to hire appraiser basically for like divorce situations and settlements and stuff like that, you do that.
I do all that, Yeah, those can get kind of,
do you do many of those?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I do. I do a lot of private work. So it's a lot of estate sale stuff.
Okay.
Probate, divorce court, tax,
tax
appeals, tax appeals, that type of thing. So So I do a lot of private work. The divorce stuff I try to stay away from as much as I can because then they end up pulling you in court, and then you got all the try to stay away
because you would have to justify the value. You're like the middleman because
because
the
then
two
they have their
parties,
appraisal. I got my and we're doing this because every appraisal is one professional's opinion. So I always try to tell people that. So it doesn't become part of public record. You can't go online and just pull an old appraisal that was done in your house 2 years ago. It's between you and the client, and that's it.
Right.
And so then when they get two appraisals, there's a good chance it's going to be two different values.
Right.
And neither one of them could be wrong.
Yeah.
And it's all basically one of the parts of an appraisal that affects the value is a very subjective part. It's the condition of the property. Right, and so now they've given us condition ratings that rate from like C1 to C6, going from new construction to it needs to be torn down. And most houses fall between the C3 and C4 range. And then sometimes they get really close where it's kind of like your opinion or not.
Right,
whether it falls into a C4 or C3. So that could affect the value.
Yeah.
And so one person could come into the home and think that it's a C3, and the other person would see it as a C4, and you have two complete different values.
Okay, so you can come up, but it should be pretty close.
Should be within
right?
range, but sometimes sometimes you'll get some wide disparity, some wide ranges there for one reason or another. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Bankruptcies, you do those?
Haven't done too many of those.
Yeah.
Haven't done too many of those. I've done a couple, but you normally don't hear much after you do the initial appraisal. So you kind of treat them all from a value perspective from the same way, because the value is the value.
The value is the value.
Yeah.
So as far as different areas in Prince George County right now, basically, are there any specific areas that you talked about? I guess the area where Capitol Plaza is that Capitol Center.
Where Capitol Center used to be? Yeah, the Boulevard. Right. Yeah. That's where we talked about where the hospital's going and Pike and Rose kind of type of shopping center is going to be. Yeah.
Okay, that's the Lotsford area right there.
Yeah. It's kind of right by the stadium. Yeah.
Okay.
What road is that? Like Arena Drive.
Okay.
Kind of right off Arena Drive.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Right over there.
And that's right near, isn't that right near Redskins Stadium?
Right near the Redskins Stadium. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, right near the Redskins Stadium.
So there's really a lot going on right now in Prince George County.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of, like I said, corporate dollars coming in and building, and it's actually kind of exciting to see everything that's going on. Yeah.
How about short sales and foreclosures? Are you still seeing a lot of that?
They're still there. I wouldn't say they're overwhelming like they used to be, but yeah, there's still
a lot of short sales.
There's still, the Prince George's County probably took the longest to recover from the downturn that we had, and so you're still seeing some of that stuff where people just kind of still underwater from when they bought in 06,
they're
07,
still under,
as
far as the value is concerned.
Right. So we're just kind of just now getting back up to that point. And so whether or not, it just depends on what people did. They refinance, pull some money out or whatever, then they can be in that spot. So it gets kind of tough. But it's the rates are not anywhere close to where they were, like 7 years ago. Let's just say. So.
I mean, it's a great time to buy right now. The market is great. And
rates are like rock bottom.
The lowest it's been in years,
right?
And it's a great time, basically. Anything special? Anything special you want to share about your real estate career?
Oh man, I just I love it. The part about it for me that I love is because you have to wear so many different hats as a realtor.
You do, yeah.
So you end up being like people's therapist and like
they're psychologists, right?
Yeah. And so I always try to educate them on the emotional roller coaster that they're about to embark on.
That's so true. Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people tell people to take their emotions out of it, that it's a business deal. There's no way that you can take your emotions out of buying your first home. There's
You're
no way,
right?
This is
so
going to be
true.
You just can't do it. And so I just try to tell them this is what to expect. I give them a process about what to look for from start one all the way to the end.
Okay.
And the way my graph looks, it's like a straight line, but I'm gonna change it because it's gonna go like this.
Up and down.
That's the way your emotions are gonna be feeling. You're gonna get excited because you got pre-approved, and then we're gonna go out looking for houses, and then you're gonna get dejected because you can't find what you want. Then you finally find the house you want, you're happy, and then there's 5 offers on it and you don't win, and now you're back down, and now you want to quit. And then we gotta get back out there, do it again, and then you finally get that house under contract, and now you're happy. Home inspection comes, hole in the roof, boom, right back down. So,
See, that's so important that you actually set the expectation right up front, because it's really not all like this, basically, and you can't take your emotions out of it because your emotions are all over the place,
and especially when it's your own home. Now as an investor, it's a complete different avenue. There's no emotions at all. It's all dollars and cents. If it doesn't fit the model, if it doesn't fit your budget, next deal. That's it. And it's cut and dry. And I work with investors too, and it's a completely different approach. But with my
they're just ready to get it done.
With my regular homeowners, it's like take your time. Let's make sure we think it through. But just be prepared, and this is what's going to happen.
Even the selling process, basically.
Selling process as well, and then people get attached to their homes. They might overprice or think it's worth more than what I'm telling them, because and I'll tell them, listen, you don't got to listen to me. We'll listen to the market.
Right.
And then I'll
Very
tell
important.
them if they want me to overprice it, I'll play around with them for a little bit. I'll give them a schedule. So if you want to work with me, 7 days, that's all you get. And then we're going to drop it down to this point. And then after that, you're going to get like another 4 or 5 days, and I'm going to drop it down to where I think we need to be.
Yeah.
You know, because the longer you stay on, you don't want a house that's been on for 40 days and you're
right.
still messing
It doesn't
with
look
price
good.
drops.
Right.
No, it's not going to work.
It doesn't look good at all.
No, not at all.
That's good. That is so important that you set the expectations right up front, whether it's buyer or seller, basically.
Yeah.
So they know what to expect, because it is very emotional. I mean, it's really very, from the beginning to the end to the walking through that settlement, you know, the last, you know.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, you know, you'll have sellers that are just like, they get into nickel and diming. It's not really, and you come to realize it's not really about money. They're really having a hard time letting go of this home, you know, and it's their emotional piece of it. And so you kind of just gotta meet them where they're at. You know, I always try to meet people where they're at.
Very important.
Just be very cognizant of where people are coming from, and just try to empathize with them and try to, you know, help get to that point. But
step in their shoes and know what they're feeling. That's so important.
That's it. It's very important. And you'll realize you'll get a lot further, you know, with your clients. And you'll build a good relationship with them as well, because they saw that you empathize with them.
Right.
You know, and so you connect with them that way. So.
Right. If you can connect with them, then you definitely get
Right.
You know, you can walk them through, and they see that you care, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, words are words, basically. But if they actually see you care,
that's it.
You know, that's the bottom line in all of it.
It is.
It's helping them.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to share with us? Yeah.
One thing. So I realized. So when I was an appraiser, like only an appraiser, people would always come to me and be like, you know, you need to get into, you know, sales. You need to get into sales. You need to get into sales. You got the good personality. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. You know, like, you know, some of these agents get on my nerves and that, you know, like, you know, and I don't want to do that. But I remember telling a friend of mine, I told her, she was, you know, trying to figure out what she wanted to do. Yeah. And I told her, I said, you'd be great at real estate. You'd be a great agent. This is before I was an agent. Yeah. I said, you'd be a great agent. And she said, you think so? I said, I know so. Yeah. And then, so I would say about 4 months later, she texted me a picture of her business card.
Oh, wow.
Keller Williams, Preferred Properties. And I said, that's impressive. I said, okay, like, that's awesome. So I started following her on social media and started seeing she was doing amazing her first year. I said, why am I not doing this? And she was still working full time and everything.
And you're
like
the
that.
one who got her into it, right?
I got her into it. And so I said, let me go ahead and take my classes and do it. And so I did it. And so she was Jeree Spencer. She's out of my office. Shout out, hi Jeree, how you doing? So she did, she was the 2017 Rookie of the Year for everything that I just told you. Okay. And then I became the 2018 Rookie of the Year. So, wow. So that was a good thing there. But one thing that I didn't anticipate, I thought it was going to be, obviously real estate, I know the product, right? So it's very easy, but that's not the business. The business is the business of sales and getting to that point where you can talk about the product. Yeah. You got to get the clients first. And that's the part that I'm working on, trying to make sure I streamline and I get organized and trying to make sure marketing and getting your database set up and organized.
Your systems
all systems in place.
In process,
Because, you know, my first year I did everything basically out of my phone. Like just connecting with people, calling up, just memory type of stuff. Right. And it's pretty impressive, but that's not going to sustain. You know? So I know I need to build, you know, systems or anything like that. So it's a lot harder than I anticipated coming in the door. So but
it's not that easy, and basically, but you're doing a good job as far as you know where your heart is, and that's so important. I think that's important, where your heart is. Yeah. And people see that when you're actually trying to help them, right? So just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, and I tell them, like, I really do try to come from a genuine place in all this. I still have the appraisal business going strong. I got 10 employees over there that are helping, you know, everything run smoothly and gives me the time to do the sales stuff. Yeah. So then, and it also doesn't it doesn't force me to be, you know, starving for one deal to close. Right, I get to actually focus on the client and get things done. And that's also very important.
Yeah.
So that's great. Well, we're out of time.
All
How's
right.
that? Christian Jackson, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us again. We will be back here next Wednesday between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you then. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.